the Mackinac Bridge in Michigan. 5 miles of steel over freezing water. Truckers call it the roller coaster, and 40% of them refuse to drive it when the wind hits just 25 miles per hour. You're behind the wheel of an 80,000-pound rig. The deck beneath you isn't pavement, it's open steel grating. You can see the water through the floor. The truck starts to sway, not side to side like a gentle rock, a wobble, the kind that makes your coffee slide off the dash. Bridge inspectors say this span is safe. Truckers say inspectors don't sit in the cab. So who's right? Here's why professional drivers trust their gut more than the engineering reports. And the 9 bridges that prove it. You're crossing the Mackinac now. 25 miles per hour of wind. The steel grating has no friction. Your tires are basically on ice, in dry conditions. The railing next to you, 3 feet high. That's it. Your trailer catches a gust and the whole rig shifts 6 inches toward the edge. Since 2000, 27 trucks have tipped or jackknifed here. 3 drivers died. After every crash, engineers said the bridge was still safe. Michigan DOT posts wind advisories. Truckers say by the time you see the warning, you're already committed. And here's what they don't tell you. 14 other suspension bridges in the U.S. have the same grating problem. But at least Mackinac has inspectors. Our next bridge? Nobody looked at it for 8 years. May 2021, a worker rappelling under the Hernando to Soto Bridge between Tennessee and Arkansas found a crack 6 inches deep through solid steel. That crack was 2 years old. It had grown 3 feet, and inspectors had missed it 5 times. You're driving 60,000 vehicles a day across this thing. If that beam fails, 500 feet of bridge drops into the Mississippi, right where a school bus crosses every morning. The inspectors only did visual checks. No ultrasound, no x-ray. The DOT spokesman said, "We follow federal guidelines." That's the actual quote. Nationwide, 46,000 bridges have what engineers call fatigue-prone details. That's a polite way of saying cracks are waiting to start. But cracks, you can see. Our next bridge hides its danger underwater. The Alaskan Way Viaduct Replacement Bridge in Seattle. Beautiful on top. Underwater, the concrete piers are dissolving. Alkali-silica reaction. The cement is eating itself from the inside. In 20 years, those piers lose 40% of their strength. Seattle sits on an earthquake zone. A 7.0 hits. These piers don't just crack, they powder. 110,000 vehicles daily. 8,000 of them are trucks. Engineers installed sensors so they can watch the collapse in real time, but they haven't closed it. The American Society of Civil Engineers says 1 in 5 concrete bridges has this problem. Most were built before 1980, so water kills concrete. But wind? Wind kills bridges in a way you've never heard of. 1940, the Tacoma Narrows bridge collapsed in 40-mile-per-hour wind. Engineers swore it would never happen again. Then the Bronx-Whitestone Bridge in New York started doing the same thing. You're driving across in the 1950s. The deck twists 8 feet side to side. Drivers reported the road disappearing under the hood. Aerodynamic flutter. Wind doesn't push the bridge. It vibrates at exactly the wrong frequency, like snapping a bedsheet. One driver said, "I felt the rear wheels leave the ground." No warning system. Engineers added $15 million in trusses. They didn't fix the design. They weighed it down so it couldn't flutter. Every suspension bridge built after 1970 has wind tunnel tests. Before 1970, there are 28 bridges with unknown flutter behavior. Engineers know how to stop wind. Our next bridge has a problem they can't fix because trucks got heavier. The I-495 bridge over the Christina River in Delaware, rated for 40 tons. Every fully loaded fuel truck weighs 44 tons. So they just don't stop. You're driving a rig that's 10% over the limit. The steel beams from 1972 are cracked from overload. Inspectors found 17 fractures hidden under paint. Rust hides cracks, paint hides rust, and 50 years of diesel exhaust eats paint faster than coastal salt. In 2014, they closed the bridge for 6 weeks. The detour added 90 minutes for 90,000 daily trucks. One logistics vice president said, "We lost $2 million per day." The state installed weigh-in-motion sensors. They catch 5% of overloads. The other 95%? They call it operational reality. 80% of U.S. interstate bridges were designed for 1970s truck weights. Today's trucks are 30% heavier. Weight destroys from above. Our next bridge fails from below because a river moved. May 23, 2013. A truck with an oversized load hit the I-5 Skagit River Bridge in Washington. 160 feet of highway fell into the river. But the truck wasn't the real cause. You're driving across a bridge that has fracture-critical members, 4 steel beams carrying everything. Cut one, the whole bridge drops. Most bridges have redundancy. Cut one cable, 9 hold. This was a 3-legged stool. 3 people in cars plunged 50 feet. They survived. But the state knew about the lack of redundancy for 20 years. A 1994 inspection said, "This bridge is non-redundant." A 2013 recommendation said, "Replace within 10 years." As of today, it's still open, still fracture critical. The Federal Highway Administration says 18,000 U.S. bridges are fracture critical. Average age? 52 years. That bridge collapsed from a hit. Our next bridge collapses from nothing. Every summer, the Lewiston-Queenston Bridge in New York grows 14 inches. Every winter, it shrinks. This movement has sheared 800 bolts since 2005. You're driving across. Thermal expansion. Steel grows 0.7 millimeters per meter per 10 degrees Celsius. On a mile-long bridge, that's catastrophic movement. Expansion joints are metal teeth that slide, but salt and debris lock them solid. Then, the bridge tears itself apart. In 2019, 3 seized joints caused a 6-inch buckle. Trucks hit it at 65 miles per hour. 4 blown tires, 1 rollover. The state cleans the joints every 6 months. Engineers recommend every 45 days. Budget says no. Every major bridge built between 1950 and 1975 has original joints. Replacement costs $2 million per span. Most states do nothing. Bridges shrink and grow. Our next bridge has a problem engineers can't even measure. The I-55 bridge over the Mississippi at Memphis. Built 1952. Engineers know a New Madrid earthquake will hit before 2050. That bridge will not survive. You're driving across sandy soil that turns to soup during shaking. Liquefaction. Piers sink 10 feet. The bridge deck doesn't break. It twists like a pretzel. 1960s bridges have rigid connections. Modern ones have hinges. Rigid plus shaking equals broken. A magnitude 7.5 would topple 14 bridges across 3 states. 500,000 vehicles stranded. Fuel tankers rupture. No crossing for 6 months. Missouri's transportation plan says retrofit critical bridges by 2030. Budget allocated? 12% of what's needed. Time left before the predicted quake? 26 years. The U.S. Geological Survey says 350 bridges in seismic zones have no earthquake protection. Not old protection, none. Earthquakes are rare. Our next bridge fails monthly, and truckers have to cross it anyway. The Corwin-Lewisburg Bridge over the Little Miami in Ohio, 112 years old. Every month, rocks fall from the underside. Engineers call them objective evidence of distress. Truckers call them warning shots. Concrete spalling. Rust expands inside the rebar and blows the concrete outward like a grenade. You're driving a FedEx double. A 40-pound chunk punches through your roof and misses your head by 6 inches. Rebar rusts 10 times faster near the Ohio River because coal pollution makes rain acidic. Acidic water plus steel equals rust. Rust equals expansion. Expansion equals explosion. The state installed catch nets. An engineer said, "Nets aren't a solution." The state said, "Nets are our solution." The Federal Highway Administration says 68,000 U.S. bridges have advanced concrete deterioration. Repair backlog? $125 billion. So we've seen 9 bridges. One pattern changes everything. Here's what truckers know that engineers won't say. These 9 bridges aren't outliers. They're average. The 2023 ASCE report card says 42% of U.S. bridges are over 50 years old. Original design life? 50 years. We're driving on expired infrastructure. The federal inspection system says every bridge gets checked every 2 years. But inspectors can't use ultrasound, can't check underwater, can't afford X-ray. They carry a hammer and a flashlight. And the fix? MAP 21 funding gives $27 billion per year. What's needed? $125 billion per year just to stop deterioration. Not rebuild, stop. Truckers refuse to cross because they see the cracks, they feel the wobble, they hear the rocks, and they know something every engineer signs off on but won't say out loud. There are 46,000 U.S. bridges rated structurally deficient today.